Blue Origin changes its Cislunar Transporter design. Starship number 35 is preparing for the flight test number 9. Launches of the week. Hi everyone, I'm Christophe Paget for All About Space, and this is your space update. Blue Origin released this new illustration of its refueling vehicle, also known as Cislunar Transporter, developed in partnership with Lockheed Martin, that will be used to transport propellants for the Blue Moon Mark II human landing system lander. The transporter will be first launched in low Earth orbit on a New Glenn rocket and then fueled using excess propellant from the New Glenn upper stages, although nothing was mentioned about how many refuelings will be needed. Now, the refueling tanks will be 7 meters in diameter, identical to the upper stage, in order to use the same assembly line as the New Glenn. The role of this vehicle is to ferry propellants from Earth orbit to a lunar near rectilinear halo orbit, or NRHO, where the Blue Moon Mark II lander will be positioned. This will allow the Blue Moon Mark II to be refueled for multiple lunar landings. At Starbase, at the launch site, the launch pad number 1 was being worked on in preparation for the flight number 9. As for the pad number 2, it is continuing its construction. The pad number 2 chopsticks were now going through calibration with water bags to simulate the booster. Booster number 14 was strangely removed from his launch mount and rolled back to the production site. The Starship number 35, the one to fly at the next test flight, was on his way to Massey site to carry out additional tests. This ship has been already tested numerous times and evidently is not sufficient for the eyes of SpaceX. I will not speculate as to why it is so. Although the FAA has not yet provided a return to flight or flight license for the flight test number 9, we do know that the FAA has already indicated that it will not allow the booster number 14 to return to site on his second landing, but rather ditch in the Gulf of Mexico instead, which is a shame in terms of demonstrating reusability. Just after I recorded this video, I found out that the FAA has now provided the license for SpaceX to fly booster number 14 and Starship 35 for its 9th flight tests. Although Starship number 35 is currently performing some basic tests at Massey, we should not have much longer to wait for this flight to occur. May 16th, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from California for a Starlink mission Group 15-5. The first stage flew for the second time and landed on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You. May 17th, Landspace launched his Suke-2E rocket from China for his mission Tianyi, composed of 6 different satellites for Earth observation, both radar and optical, as well as scientific research. On the same day, Rocket Lab launched his Electron rocket from New Zealand for his mission The Sea God Sees, a synthetic aperture radar Earth imaging satellite. May 18th, ISRO launched a PSLV XL rocket from India for his mission EOS-9, carrying a synthetic aperture radar Earth imaging satellite as well. Unfortunately, an anomaly occurred on the third stage 365 seconds later, and the payload was lost. May 19th, Galactic Energy launched his Ceres-1S from the Chinese waters for his mission Tianqi 16, 18, and 20, 4 low Earth orbit Internet of Things communication satellites. May 20th, CSC launched a Long March 7A from China for its mission ChinaSat 3B, a communication satellite in geostationary orbit. May 21st, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from Florida for its Starlink mission Group 12-15. It was a brand new first stage, which landed on the drone ship just reading the instructions. On the same day, CS Space launched a Kinetica 1 rocket from China for its mission Taijin with an optical remote sensing satellite, and an X-band synthetic aperture radar satellite. It is the return to flight of Kinetica 1 after a launch failure on 27th December 2024. In summary, from January 1st until May 22nd, 2025, 108 rockets were launched successfully. Out of that, 69 were from an American company or institution and 30 from China. I leave you this week with a picture from James Webb Space Telescope of the Herbig-Haro 4950, an outflow from a nearby still-forming star located in the constellation Chameleon, some 625 light-years from Earth. The telescope's cameras identified glowing hydrogen molecules, carbon monoxide molecules, and energized grains of dust, represented in orange and red. The galaxy that appears at the tip of the Herbig-Haro is a much more distant galaxy, which is coincidentally aligned in this picture. It has a prominent central bulge represented in blue that shows the location is older stars. Thank you for watching your channel all about space. See you at the next episode of Space News.